This boy and girl are going to be well equipped when the time comes to take their places as worthy members of adult society.
Aloha, y'all. This is Daniel Eisenman, the host of the Breaking Normal podcast, where my guests are all invited based on the frequency of synchronicity, all done in person, and all trailblazers in the breaking of all things normal.
All right, we have a breaking normal moment where we have a repeat athlete on the show, Eagle McMahon.
Thank you for having me.
We were just reflecting on the last time you were on the show, and that was before we were doing full videos. That was probably at my apartment, right?
It was at your apartment. You were sitting on the throne.
You didn't sit on the throne? Did I offer the throne to you?
No, you took the throne.
What was that? 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
It was late 2022.
Okay. And you didn't listen to that recently, did you?
I was listening a little bit today.
I was thinking about doing that.
I want to just get an idea of what we were talking about at the time.
What was the golden thread that you...
Well, if I recall the name correctly, it was something to do with the real sport of disc golf, and something along the lines with stem cells.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because I had a stem cell injection that year.
Have you continued that at all?
I have not.
Okay.
And long story short, I ended up getting surgery.
You did?
Yes.
Wow. Where at on your body?
My shoulder.
Your shoulder?
My shoulder, yes. So the stem cells were showing promise, but for what I needed with the sport of disc golf, it wasn't enough to keep my shoulder together.
Okay.
And funny enough, when I went to get the surgery done and when they opened me up and went to repair my labrum, there was a lot of laxity in the joint. And the stem cells might have done something, but from my shoulder coming out of socket, being sublexed 4 times, I believe, there was just so much room in there that the stem cells never were really going to cinch it up. So getting the surgery for me was probably the best decision I could have made.
Wow. Okay. And do you recall, or did I tell you that I may have a very similar shoulder situation to you?
Yep.
Yeah. Was yours called an impingement? That's what they called mine, an impingement. They said, you have so much laxity in your shoulder that it's a double-edged sword. I remember the surgeon saying this, you're probably able to throw really hard and sling that arm, but there's a little bone on bone touching every time you do that because you have all this laxity, and it's created a lot of scar tissue, and we recommend we go out there and scope out that scar tissue. I did not do that surgery. What were you doing compared to that situation?
Yeah, I don't recall them ever mentioning impingement per se. For me, it was a slight Bankart lesion, which if you think about the labrum, it's this soft, gummy, non-vascular tissue that sits right in between the humeral head and, is it the AC joint? But whatever sits against the humeral head and whatever the scapula area of the shoulder. There's a traditional slap tear, which is a tear in the top of the biceps tendon, which a lot of pitchers get.
Okay.
For me, when I sublexed my shoulder, it came out forward and down. So that's what the Bankart lesion was. It's a little bit of a tear on the front lower side of the labrum. And that was just enough to make a weak point. So if I was ever moving my shoulder forward in a quick jolting fashion, that was going to threaten, or it was going to be a weak point to where the humeral head would jump out of socket. So when I got the surgery, they essentially tightened everything up, and now I haven't had that issue since, which has been great because in disc golf there's 2 main ways of throwing. It's the backhand and sidearm / forehand. And when I had my injury, I was having a very hard time throwing forehand shots because if I threw it too hard or engaged too much of my bicep or upper part of my arm without keeping it really packed and stacked, then I could throw my shoulder out of socket. But ever since that, and ever since the recovery, I haven't had that issue anymore.
Well, I think you might be the first person I know that is stoked on having shoulder surgery. Almost everyone else that I know that got a shoulder surgery, they didn't seem to appreciate the results.
I rehabbed like it was my job, though.
Okay.
Because I got it done and I blocked out about 5 months afterwards. And every single day, my goal was to make my shoulder better in every way, shape, and form, whether it came from movement, diet, contrast therapy. That was my number one focus. So I think that's what really helped me. And even now, I could definitely tell a little bit of inhibition in the joint, but it's way better than worrying about my shoulder coming out of socket.
Wow.
And I think it's testament too. It's like there's so many amazing alternative therapies, and I think most people should start with those. But depending on where the person's at and what their career depends on, sometimes the more traditional route can be advised. But of course, doing your due diligence and doing the research and making the best decision for yourself is absolutely key. And I feel like that's what I did. I mean, I got stem cells. I feel like I crossed every box out before getting to surgery. It wasn't just a blind surgery, which a lot of people just like, the doctor says I need it, therefore I'm going to go get it.
Who was your surgeon? I'm sure people are curious. Is that something people do? Do they shout out surgeons?
Well, let me think. It was Western Orthopedics, Benjamin Sears.
Sears?
Yeah.
Wow.
Benjamin Sears.
Interesting. That's a combination of two recent guests on the show, Benjamin Duffy and JP Sears. Anyways.
Benjamin Duffy, he's a trip. I just want to shout out this podcast because I listen to pretty much every episode, and I just want to thank Daniel for like showcasing the best of Boulder and beyond. But it's been really cool for me because I've made a lot of like good resources here. Like I started working with Elixium, which David Raday was on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I heard him talk, I'm like, you know what? I think that could be of great benefit to me. So I've been working with them for like about 4 months now.
Wow.
And my girlfriend Ratana just started working with them as well. And they've been helping me out a lot. Like I can tell since working with them, I've had probably a 20 to 30% energy boost just with their protocol.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I must say, I'm very happy you brought that up, and it's affirming and humbling because I think you're the person that I know that I might like message the most, that might listen to most of the shows. Like, are you saying you listen to every episode?
I'd say pretty much all of them.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's amazing. So now I just like have so much, like what episodes other than David's? And I am curious what you are. We can go first with there. What are you working on Elixium? And then I have another question about the podcast.
So for me, it's just energy optimization, testosterone optimization, making my body work as good as it can. Because for the listeners, we haven't really talked about it yet. For the listeners out there who don't know, I'm a professional disc golfer and I travel pretty much all year round, but my busy season's from March to mid-October. And I'm traveling all throughout the US, over to Europe, and playing anywhere from probably 16 to 20 events a year, which takes up a lot of time. And some of these events are in certain places that you wouldn't necessarily ever want to go on vacation, i.e. Peoria, Illinois, Burlington, Kentucky, used to go to Emporia, Kansas. So it's hard to raise your vibration in said places. And I've had some issues, staying focused. And when you don't have energy, it's really hard to get excited to get out of bed to do your job. So that's why originally I reached out to Elixium, and just by tweaking a few things, getting a little bit of blood work done and using what I already know, using my own intuition, it's helped me get that little bit of extra edge that I feel like I've needed, because since surgery, my game hasn't been exactly where I've wanted it, but I think there's a lot of different factors going into that, because last time I was on the podcast, I was with a different sponsor. So when me being a disc golfer, I have sponsors that help me compete or fund my tour and travel throughout the US and Europe in order to play disc golf. And when you switch a sponsor, you're switching all the tools you use, the discs. And I say there was just a huge shift getting the surgery, changing sponsors, and then having all previous expectations attached to my name, to where, it kind of threw me for a little bit of a tailspin. And over the last few months, I've kind of done like a 180, and I feel like I'm actually getting back to being myself in a lot of regards. And there's a lot of other factors. You could say it's like a Saturn return, if you will, because I'm 27 years old and there's so much that's happened in my life. And now I feel like I'm kind of taking on a new role in my dharma, if you will. So, just everything's coming full circle. And with Elixium, it's just one of the dominoes that's started to fall in place to me getting back to where I feel like I should be.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not even sure everything that they do there. I know one of the things they do is like testosterone.
They do testosterone. They do the TRT therapy. I haven't gotten on that. I'm reluctant to, because from my understanding, as soon as you start injecting, then they kind of got you for life, because your body shuts off its own testosterone factory. So they have me on like a Shilajit supplement as well as a Tongkat Ali.
Wow.
So we're taking like a more holistic approach first before doing anything else, because I had good testosterone. It just my SHBG, which is it's one of the it binds to testosterone, making it to where you don't have the free testosterone to take advantage of.
What's that name of that molecule?
SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're quite well versed in this biohacking world.
Yeah, I hate biohacking is like a weird term for me, because I think there's a lot of positives to it, but at the same time, I don't want to like identify with that.
Yep, I hear that too.
I'd like.
I don't identify. I use the word, but I hear you. Please go ahead.
As soon as I say like I was vegan, I'm human now. I don't want to adhere to any sort of dogma or ism. It's not my style, but it's so easy to, because like people are like, what do you eat now? What's your diet like? I'm like, my intuition is kind of my diet, but I also seek out help from people like Elixium to help better understand myself. I think we were talking a little bit about before the podcast started is learning your own body, and then getting help for a little while is going to help you broaden your understanding of your own health. And then once you have that understanding, you can start dialing it in for yourself.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that you're in a new season in your life. What do you mean by Saturn return? I've heard this phrase before.
So I'm not that well versed in it, but it's a concept in astrology where Saturn is on a cycle. So every about 27 to 28 years, Saturn returns to the same place in the sky as it was when you're born. And so most people have 2 to 3 Saturn returns in their life, and each one represents a coming of age and a new cycle in their life.
I was going to say, unless you're a famous musician like Jimi Hendrix or Janis Joplin, or
they never got to see Saturn in the same spot of the sky.
Well, all right. So I have so many things to talk about. So once again, thanks for being a fan of the podcast.
Of course.
Because it's different. I used to do retreats, as you know, and I would get so much direct feedback. That was like in my, like when I was just like you do, probably at a tournament. That was like my tournament. I was like, okay, now I'm going to get all this like such quality feedback, whether it's good or bad, from like 50 people right in my face for 4 days in a row. And doing the podcast, I don't necessarily get that. So I totally appreciate you letting me know. Like, I know I remember you like saying a few different things. Like I remember when Christine's episode came out, you were like, that was awesome. And sometimes I'm so in the thick of it, it's hard to know what other people think, which is not my driving force anyways. But that episode must have been awesome.
It was great.
It might be our most listened to episode, is my guess, with Dr. I don't know.
I saw some of like the metrics on social media. That one clip of her went like pretty viral.
Yeah, it's gotten over 500,000 views. But the thing is, this is not like views of a cat falling from a tree. These are like people are obsessed with this video, and it is creating a lot of traction, I think, for her and both of our businesses here as well, and the podcast. So I'm stoked on that. Any standout episodes or like, The
one that was interesting to me, and being a Boulder native, I forget his name, but
Howard Snooks, the old guy. That was UFL's guess.
Well, it was
Not to just say he's
no.
old,
He was.
but-
He did a lot with like fire regulation.
Oh yeah, Rob Kaplan.
Yeah, like that just opened my eyes to like a different side of Boulder, and it just got me thinking. It's like knowing what's going on kind of the municipal like town side and what you're bringing to the table and being like an ambassador for Boulder. It was really cool to me seeing like the local picture. The one girl, what's her name? She runs the Yellow Barn.
Azure.
It got me interested. I haven't been out there yet, but like that's something that I could be interested in joining. Shout out friend of the podcast, Jeremy Solomon. I'm actually going to go out there tomorrow and sauna with Jeremy.
Oh, at the Puffin?
At the Puffin.
Have you been there yet?
I haven't been out there yet.
Me neither. Okay.
So it's like, you know, just learning about these little pop-ups around town. Of course, like when you've had Alice from Golden Hoop Fawn, that's another great one. Like she's just a wealth of knowledge. Like I could listen to her talk all day.
This is great feedback for all the people too.
And then
Alice.
you got some cool characters like the Benjamin Duffy.
Yeah.
Like I'll have his podcast on in the background and Ratana will hear him like, who's Daniel interviewing? But like it's really cool to just hear these breaking normal people that are out there on the streets of Boulder, and it just makes me like proud to be a part of the community. And of course, shout out Matt Bernstein.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was so stoked on that episode, and thanks for the shout out.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to get back there and start training again at some point, because I love the community aspect. Some of like my best memories in Boulder are just being a part of the APCO community. Yeah.
Well, that means a lot to me, and it brings up this topic that how people like put pictures of musicians and athletes and such on their wall that they don't know, like they don't personally know them. I'm gonna see if I can take action on this after now I say this. I want to have my walls filled with my friends.
Yeah.
I want to be a fan of my friends.
I love that.
And that's not always easy for some people to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know firsthand. Being a professional disc golfer, when everybody who is your friend is also your competitor, it could be tough.
Yeah, and that makes more sense. But have you ever caught yourself? I know it's a bit of a personal question. You don't have to answer, because I know everyone else. I know a lot of people do, or they have sometime in their life that they're a little like they almost want to see their idols fall, or they just like they don't always want their friends to succeed.
Oh, 100%. I've caught myself feeling that way, and I try to nip it in the bud like right away, because it's disgusting, honestly.
Well, I think that's the key, is to catch yourself.
I know, like I do it. Like I'll take accountability for it, and I try to like understand why I might feel that way, and it's just usually comes from a survival state of mind, which we don't need to be in. We can be in an abundant state of mind. Like the older I get and like realize that what I'm doing and the community, the fact that I get to live in Boulder, Colorado, I have so much gratitude for that, to think like, why should I ever be in that survival state of mind? Even though like when, I'm high stress, I just played a bad round of disc golf, things aren't going the way I want them to, I can really easily fall into, not so great state. But what I've gotten better at is pulling myself out of that frame of mind a lot quicker than I used to.
Yeah, it's making me imagine there's a correlation between how much, like for the people that I might be tempted to not want them to succeed for some whatever weird, disgusting reason. It's like, if I can nip that in the bud and want them to succeed, I feel like that'll be correlated with how much others want me to succeed.
Yeah.
If I can, how much ever I want the person I'm envious of to succeed will be correlated with how many other people want me to succeed.
Totally. It's what you say. It's like, if you aren't grateful for something you already have, how can you expect more?
Yeah.
It's like a cousin of that notion.
And I am happy you called that disgusting, because I've caught myself in the past with that, and sometimes I see it like flare up a little. Like I'm like, oh, why did that do so good for them? But I'm like, oh no, you Daniel, this is your opportunity to upgrade.
Right. But I will say that there is one caveat to that, being an athlete, and especially in a competitive sport, is you want to use some of that envy as drive as well.
That's another way.
Because two books that I just recently listened to. Have you heard of Tim Grover?
Yeah. Yep, I have.
Yeah. And he gives some polarizing kind of thought experiments, and brings kind of a counter to a lot of people's way of thinking. And for good reason. I mean, he trained Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. And I mean, one of the things he says is, everyone says it's not the destination, it's the journey. And he says it's absolutely the destination, because you have to have that end goal in mind to work towards. And I think it's weird. It's a fine line to walk, but having that tenacious drive to win is something that's really important, that a lot of people will kind of, I can't think of a better word for it, but like pussyfoot around. And they can kind of get lost in like, the participation medal and just like, not having real structure. And for the last 2 years, I feel like I fell into that. And by listening to Tim Grover, it's kind of like reawakened like that drive in me to like go out there and get an edge and do whatever it takes.
Yeah, wow. There's like a bit of a juxtaposition, because like the athletic world is definitely unique in the sense that competition is cooperation. But in the outside the competition world, when you're like wanting to people to fail rather than you, I hear this. Like, let's just say there's someone else. Let's say Benjamin Duffy's podcast just takes off like crazy. I could be envious of that. I could be stoked for him. Or I could be a mix of the both and be like, I'm gonna see if I can get a bigger podcast than him going. Like, to take it out of the non-sport world. In the sport world, I definitely think that Tim Grover like killer mentality. What does he call it? The people that are like the most obsessed,
the cleaners. The
cleaners.
Yeah, those are the people who do whatever it takes, and that's the ultimate evolution, because they're not necessarily even thinking about the other people.
Yeah.
They just know intrinsically, and they use their instinct to their advantage. Like, they don't care how good somebody's going to be. They know what they're capable of, and they're going to go out there and execute no matter what. And they don't even have that envy. They just have that burning desire within them to execute their dharma. And that's the ultimate evolution. That's what I think of.
Yeah, I really admire what I've heard from Tim Grover. I haven't met him in person. What's he doing right now? When you say you are listening to him, just like the books, or is he doing a podcast? Or
there's 2 books on Spotify that I listen to. He has Relentless and Winning.
I've listened to both of those.
Yeah,
I think. You listen to them multiple times?
I've listened. So funny enough, I listened to half of Winning back in like 2021, and I stopped listening to it.
Okay,
and then I revisited it this year, and I'm thinking like, why'd you stop listening to it? It was so good. And I feel like it could have benefited me so much. But, better late than never.
Do you know what he's doing right now? We should get him on the show one day.
Absolutely. I'm not sure, because his Winning book was released maybe 2020, because it was right after Kobe Bryant's death.
Okay, yeah.
And I feel like of course I feel bad like when certain celebrities or influential figures pass away, but Kobe was like the biggest one for me. Like, I still think about that and be like, dang, it really sucks that happened, because he was so influential, and I just loved that his outlook on life.
Yeah, I think the Charlie Kirk one hit me like that.
That's another one,
because I was like, this was the best. This might have been the best communicator I've ever heard. Like, he's arguably one of the best communicators I've ever heard. Right. And he's now gone. And how old was he? 31. It's outrageous.
It shook things up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That was definitely a window into the current landscape of the world.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Like people are so
Mm-hmm.
caught up. Like certain people, if you believe what you see online, are so caught up with his like opinions.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's a human.
I'm caught up that he was maybe the best communicator I've ever heard, and now he's
Mhm.
gone. That's what I'm caught up in.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was amazing. It's amazingly sad. And it's just amazing amount of craziness you can find
Mhm.
online about anything these days, including his death.
Totally.
How do you balance all that? Because it sounds like you do like a lot of research. I mean, if you're listening to a lot of the Breaking Normal podcast, are you listening to other podcasts? How do you balance your consumption?
You know, I listen to a range of podcasts. Breaking Normal is probably like the one I click on fastest, but I kind of like I balance my intake. I try to not be like too involved with the digital sphere as much as I possibly can, like refrain from it. If Joe Rogan has like a good guest that like is thought provoking, say like a Greg Braden, that's one that I'll click on.
Oh yeah, did he interview him recently?
He did.
I think I listened to that one.
It was really interesting. But I'm listening to a lot of music podcasts, like Pure Trance Radio. I love electronic dance music, so that's usually taken up a lot of my listening time. Or it's really about the frequency of synchronicity, if you will. Like if you know what podcast you feel like you should click on and which ones you should share. Like didn't I send you the one with Nako?
Yeah.
Did you listen to that one?
To that one yet.
That one was really insightful because I never really listened to a lot of Nako, but for some reason it came on when I was in Hawaii this year, and it just like fit the vibe perfectly.
I'll probably listen to that when I'm in Encinitas, Acadia. Wow. All right, so here's a cool question, because I trust this doesn't. I'm not trying to exploit you by being on the show to put you on the spot, but do you have any feedback? Like, do you think anything we could do to make this show better? And or what do we do best? And I say we because Yvelle's working with me here too, and every guest is working with me.
Well, I thought it was very interesting. Like we walked in the door, we had maybe like 2 or 3 minutes of chit chat, and then it was like, let's go. Mm-hmm. And it shows that it's very organic. And I think that's a huge positive aspect.
Okay.
Honestly, I've enjoyed every single one. And my only criticism, I'd say, of course, there's time constraints on you, but if you wanted to let him go longer, I'd be listening.
I'm open to it. Because some of the podcasts I listen to are quite long, especially I'm a bit of a sucker for when Joe Rogan has a good guest on, and those are usually 3 hours.
Right.
And I also like to listen to Theo Vaughn's.
Okay.
When he has like a big guest on.
Yeah. Same here.
I like My First Million and Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you heard of either one?
For sure. I'm trying to like think of all the other shows. Like I like the Iced Coffee Hour.
I listen to that one too. When they have a guest on that I'm interested in. Yeah.
Right. It really is guest dependent for me. Like if there's somebody that am captivated of or have wanted to hear from for a long time, then I'll click. But I'm not like allegiant to any particular podcast.
I think I am, and that's a great point. I probably am most consistent to click on the show regardless of the guest on My First Million and Gary Vaynerchuk's, and it might be because of the season in my life, because they're so about like scaling businesses, really niched in on that, like in the e-commerce entrepreneurial world. So I'm a bit of a sucker for those two, regardless of the guest. Now I'm trying to think of like the best podcast. Do you have like a favorite podcast you've ever listened to?
Favorite podcast? Oh man,
like the best episode. I'm trying to think of my. I thought of one or two. Yeah, I thought of one or two shows I think are the two best episodes I've ever heard.
I'm not good at playing favorites.
I'm gonna get some hate on this one, but did you ever hear Tucker Carlson interview Andrew Tate?
I did not.
Holy mackerel! I thought like Tucker Carlson. I don't know what all is going on with Andrew Tate and what's real and what's not, but those two were just incredible in my opinion. And I think I remember Tim Ferriss and Jamie Foxx. Did you ever hear that one?
I did not hear that one.
Those are two of the best ones that just like popped to mind. I could probably think of 10 more.
Man, I need to think a little bit deeper and harder about this. I'd say some of the Joe Dispenzas on Lewis Howes are really good.
Okay.
Those
I'll
are
take a
always
note of that.
ones that I can go back and listen to and inspire me and get me thinking in a really positive way. Yeah, I'm always so bad when I get put on the spot for favorites because it's whatever I'm feeling. Some of the David Goggins podcasts are always really inspirational.
I haven't heard from him in a while. It makes me wonder if he's doing some torturous thing in the desert somewhere by himself.
I love his style because he really is authentic, if nothing else. And I mean, he is so much more than that. But like, he'll pop in every once in a while and just blow your mind on what he's doing.
I thought another favorite. I'll probably anytime I ever see him on a show, I'll listen to him is Dana White.
Okay.
It's kind of
he's not on many shows. I remember my dad, he showed me a clip of he was getting interviewed and then he's like, I don't like this question. I don't like what's going on. And he just walked off the show.
Exactly.
That's authenticity right there.
Yeah, I think that's probably the theme because Gary Vaynerchuk, I somewhat see the same way. It seems like the more people he's in front of, the more transparent he gets. It's like supercharges him.
Right.
And Dana White seems to be similar. Like the more pressure on him, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I admire people when there's a pressure on them to conform and they do the opposite.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It makes it interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. Gosh, what's those guys? They're pretty funny. The Canadians, they have the Happy Dad Company.
Oh yeah.
Why can't I think of their name? It's just so ridiculous. Like they interview world leaders like Donald Trump. I think the leader in Israel. They like
the Nelk Boys.
Yeah, the Nelk Boys.
Okay.
They're ridiculous because it's No, I do like Patrick David a little bit too, but the Nelk Boys, I'll listen to them a lot too.
Okay,
their shows are short, and it's just like, how are you interviewing Donald Trump? How is this even happening?
Yeah,
it's outrageous.
It's like their poll is pretty crazy.
Anything you want to make sure we talk about?
I'm just here, happy to be here, and I'm kind of an open book. Whatever you want to ask, I think I love the conversation going in whatever way it needs to go.
Did I hear, I'm not sure if this is appropriate either, but did I hear you're starting a secret podcast or something? Or it's
not necessarily a secret podcast, but it's me and my friends, Simon Lazat, Joey Tamale. It's called the Crush Pepper Podcast. And
I saw a clip of this.
It's like a lifestyle / disc golf podcast. We're all disc golfers and, that's what we're known for. So I'd say about 70 to 80% of the podcast is disc golf talk, but we'll go off on some tangents and we'll have our own little segments, talk about what we want to, and just kind of let our own humor shine through. So we've been doing it since the start of this year. So we're about 32 episodes in. Okay. And it's fun. Like I'll go out to tournaments and people come up to me and say like, I love the podcast. Don't stop. And it's great to put yourself under pressure in a conversation because that there's stuff at stake when you're talking, and it makes you lock in more than you normally would for a regular conversation.
Yeah, this is one thing.
It's a good practice.
I think I recently heard from Joe Rogan, and I thought it was a great point that one of the reasons he loves podcasting is it's like the only time in his life where he's fully focused for a long duration of time and not being distracted by his phone or anything on the outside world. He's just in that dialogos. And that's not many people have that anymore.
Yeah. I'd say like the only other time that I really feel that is if I'm going to watch a movie, which is wild to say because
like, do you go to theaters?
Like if you go to a theater, like not on your couch, because it's kind of sad that when we watch a movie on our own TV now, we have like 2 or 3 screens operating at the same time. But I just recently saw a movie and I put my phone on airplane mode and I was there focused on the movie. And having this conversation now makes me think of that because I'm not looking at my phone. I'm looking straight at you right now. I'm like locked in.
It's a good reason. Like everyone, in a way, whether it's for the public or not, should be podcasting.
Yeah,
especially with their family and their parents.
Family podcast interventions.
Why would you not
throw a camera on it? Monetize it, baby.
Oh man! Wow. How's your family, by the way? I haven't seen your dad in a while. Now that I'm not driving anymore, I'm walking everywhere these days.
No, family my dad's good. He's just doing his thing around Boulder. My girlfriend's great. She just started working with Elixium. Or
as a client.
As a client.
Okay. Right,
yeah.
cool.
No, she's not taking on any employment with them. And yeah, my grandparents, they're the same as they kind of always are. I don't think you've ever met my grandparents.
I don't think I have.
They're, my grandpa's getting old and has old people problems. But other than that, everyone's good. Or my mom's dad.
Your mom's dad.
Yeah.
Did we talk about your mom in the last show at all? Do you remember?
Don't recall.
I don't recall either. What can you tell us about your mom?
Oh man. So where do we start? My mom was born here in Colorado, moved to Boulder, and I feel like she's my number one link to loving Boulder as much as I do. She had a deep appreciation for the mountains because when I was in the womb, my mom and dad were thinking about moving to Maine because my dad was born on the East Coast. He's from Belmar, New Jersey. And they went out there, they were kind of scoping out the vibe, and they weren't feeling it. And I went to New Jersey this year. I was talking to my Aunt Maureen, and she is very biased to the beach. Like, she gets recharged being by the ocean. Like, she can't imagine being away from that. But my mom was on the other side because they had a conversation where my mom was saying, like, I don't understand the beach life. I don't understand the ocean. I need to look up at the mountains and see the sunset behind it. And I feel the same way because I love the ocean and I want to be near there sometimes. But when it comes down to it, I need to come back to Boulder to recharge. So she loved Boulder. She was a certified yoga instructor, and I would say the trendsetter of the family to a certain degree. She was interested in a raw vegan diet from when I was a very young kid, and she got my dad on board, and that basically set the tone for my early childhood. It was I was looking at old videos this past year. My uncle gave me this old flash drive, and I got some footage from Hawaii being at a David Wolf retreat.
Wow.
And me like,
wait, in Kilauea?
No, it was Maui.
Oh, Maui.
Maui, and like me just like saying off the wall things to David Wolf as I was a kid.
How old were you?
I was like 5.
Okay.
Wow. Like calling him like suavocado and all these weird things. But that was kind of like my interesting upbringing. Like, being raised in Boulder is already weird, and then being in the raw food vegan community. And it's wild because while that fueled her and it made her who she was, it was ultimately a little bit of her downfall because she got a little bit too into the weeds, if you will. Like, she went off with some of these like super guru type figures. I don't know if you even know these names, like Swami Vishwananda, Amaraya Dreamseed. And originally, like, one of the saddest moments in my life was her saying to me, it's like, I'm going away for a while. And she went to California for like 2 months. And ultimately, that's when she died. And I just knew something was up. I was 9 years old. She said she was leaving because she got a divorce with my dad when I was 7 years old. And then there was some like some unfortunate things that happened, that she got with another guy, and then she, was living in a trailer park. So it was like it was pretty stressful on me. And my mom and dad were able to like maintain good relations for a long period of time, but she ended up moving back in with her parents. And this was in 2007. And my grandparents gave her an ultimatum saying, like, you better move out by X date because, we don't want you being at the house anymore. And this was her initiative to create something for herself, whether it was in like the new age, like yoga. I don't even really know what it was, but in those parameters. And she took off and she was gone. And then ultimately she went to Harbin Hot Springs. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I have not been there
Okay.
because I've heard amazing things about it. And I've also heard that it got really messed up by a fire.
Oh, okay.
Maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, I forget.
Yeah, but she went in the hottest pool. She always was known for taking like hot baths. And she passed out in one of the hot springs, and they had to call the paramedics, and they revived her. She was conscious for like 20 minutes, but then she transitioned to another realm.
How old
But
were you?
I was 9 years old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's wild because I think for a while, like I had a really good support system with my dad, my grandparents. So I didn't really feel the emotional hit in like the short term. But as I get older, I feel like I have that yearning to understand my mother and talk to her. And, you know, there's definitely a hole there in development, who you are as a person. So it's like, it's really hard to put into words, but you know, it's unfortunate, but it's who I am today. And, you know, that's the story with my mom.
I find that pretty striking. The
Mhm.
part where you said one of the saddest moments of your life is when she said she's going to go away for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And was that the last time you?
That pretty much
Like-
like she gave that announcement. She talked to my dad about it, and of course, no one was really on board with her. And she had her mind made up. That was one thing about her. Once she made up her mind, that was the end result, and she executed it. And ultimately, it was her downfall. But you know, it was her time. Like in the grand scheme of things, you know, that's what happened, and was what was supposed to happen.
And you don't have siblings, right?
I'm only child.
Okay. Man, it definitely makes me want to get to know your dad more too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow.
Yeah, he's got a lot of things to say. But you know, she was a very, it's kind of like that Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix type of personality. It's like very, she burned hot and bright for a short period of time.
What's her name?
Her name was Stephanie.
Stephanie. And what year was that when?
2007. And actually, bringing this conversation up is, for the longest time, her ashes were stored in my grandma's closet. And when I talked to my grandma about it, it's like they almost suppressed the fact that I feel like that she passed away. Like it's a touchy subject. Like, of course they're sad, but I think they're almost refusing to accept it. And the ashes just sat in the closet for 18 years. And I finally said, this year, I'm taking them. And her end destination for her journey to California was Mount Shasta. And I took the metal box with the ashes and I spread them on Mount Shasta this year.
Wow.
And I feel like I finally put like a little bit of closure to that story.
Mount Shasta, like you climbed up a little bit, or how?
We drove up the road and got as high as we
Wow.
could to like a really nice spot.
Mount Shasta is crazy.
Mount Shasta is incredible.
It really
Like
is.
you get goosebumps when you, or what do you call them? God bumps?
Yeah, God bumps, truth bumps for sure. It is a place that will make your hair on your arms stand up a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are in that type of energy up there. I would say it's like the most, like, to be esoteric, like crown chakra place I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Like people, I don't know if people are fairies or humans. It's like a little bit of a hybrid.
There's something different happening there.
Yeah, and it is the headwaters of the Sacramento River. I think we talked when you were there.
Yeah, I
Maybe
asked you, what are some must do's out there?
Did you get in the water there? Or
Yeah.
that water's cold.
We had to like go downstream a little, because they don't want you in it.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
I went downstream to swim, but to bottle it right there. That's a pretty special spot.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, the Crystal Springs company was they were trying to like monopolize that or buy that spring. And I think the fairies in Mount Shasta, like you saw how powerful they are. They like apparently protested it till it wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's my understanding of that story.
Because I remember like looking at Crystal Springs bottles, and some of the bottles say, like, depending where you are in the country, some were like Mount Shasta, Northern California, and then others were like up in Maine.
Yeah.
It depends like their bottling source.
Yeah, that's a whole crazy. What a crazy industry, the water bottle industry. I was wondering about your mom because the 2007, I wonder if she ever saw the raw bras, like doing it because she was in the raw vegan thing. Like, how crazy full circle would that be?
Would be. When was like the raw
I
bras
think
reign?
the first video was right around 2007.
I think they were a little bit before that, because as soon as because my dad was known in the area as the raw food guy. Him and my mom and my dad's girlfriend, after my mom and dad's marriage ended, they ran a cafe called Life Transitions Cafe, and it was up on 4th Street here. And
wait, who all did that?
My dad, my mom, and my dad's girlfriend,
they
Lucretia,
ran Life Transitions
Cafe, and it was a raw vegan cafe, and they would get 50, 60 people up at the house that Lucretia, my dad's girlfriend, was renting at the time. And it was wild. They'd bring it was very breaking normal. They had musicians coming, and then it all shut down when, of course, the next door neighbors called law enforcement and had to have permits. And then they realized that it was something that they couldn't really do in the capacity that they were doing it.
Wow.
But
on 4th Street?
4th Street.
And where? 4th and where? You remember?
It was 4th and Delwood, maybe.
Okay. So
yeah,
a little north.
But after that, my dad rented. Do you know where the September School is?
Yeah, I think I do.
So right down Canyon, it's like this colorful building. After the Life Transitions, or right around the same time, my dad started a church called Chocolate Church, and he brought in speakers from Boulder, or if the one church down in Lakewood, the Science of Mind Church. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's very it's a great church. It's not your typical Christian church, but he'd get speakers coming in, and hence the name Chocolate Church. He was under the notion and the paradigm of chocolate being the best thing ever. The David Wolf, he was all about cacao, chocolate ceremonies, and that's how people got on board with it. And it was quite the time to be in Boulder in a raw vegan, I would say that. And I don't know what the current raw vegan community looks like in town, but I would say that was probably the peak in Boulder.
It sounds like it. Does your dad still a big believer in cacao? Kapow.
I would say probably not.
Okay.
He's a bigger believer in pasture-raised eggs.
Do y'all still go to the Golden Hoof to get eggs and stuff, or where do y'all?
I try to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to get to. I try to go there as much as I can, but at the same time, it's sometimes I can't.
Man, I had another one that was following up from that. You have any questions for me? I have the popcorn questions this time.
Yeah, I'd say I have a few questions. I'm curious, during the raw bras era, it's how well did you know Paul Chek?
Oh, okay.
Because
I got to know him the best out of all the brothers, for sure.
Yeah. Because I started listening to his Living 4D podcast. He changed it to Spirit Gym now. And I probably got through about 80 or so podcasts of his. That's another one that I really like, because he's just an insane wealth of knowledge on every topic. If I'm curious about something, I try to see what Paul Chek said on it, because I feel like what he teaches is something that I'm very much aligned with his thought processing on virtually everything.
Yeah, he is a wealth of knowledge. You said that's a great way to put it. I wouldn't say I know Paul Chek super well. What I will say is this: I have a feeling that out of all the people that have interacted with Paul Chek, that have had the most intense experiences in the shortest amount of time, I'm probably near the top.
Wow,
is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just not intensity in a way that there was a physical altercation or anything, but about as close as you could get. Which is crazy. It's actually how JP and I got to know each other. And
because he's a practitioner, right?
He was a practitioner for 11 years, I think, if I'm remembering the numbers correctly. And he had literally just stopped working with Paul when I had met JP. It was almost the same time. And I had met, I think, Paul Chek first, and then I I remember explaining to JP what an intense interaction I had with Paul Chek. And that actually could kind of catalyze a connection between JP and I.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe tell me off camera.
Yeah, sure. Have you met Paul?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I would love to. I'm flying to San Diego tomorrow. Maybe I'll freaking see Paul Chek. Yovel, are you going to come fly with the cameras? That guy, every time we interviewed him, it went like, there was something about the collaboration.
I saw like some of the,
Bras.
I saw some of the interviews. I think there was one that was like a longer version, like that was behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But all the short ones, I would say we're quite responsible for a lot of each other's success in a way.
Mhm.
Like those interviews were huge for people.
Yeah.
Like some of the biggest, that might be the biggest series of interviews I've ever done was with Paul Chek on YouTube Vitamin RB. It wasn't even a Raw Bra. It's like we were starting a separate YouTube interview channel. So every interview we had with him was crazy, as you could just go on camera and watch. It was crazy cool. And then the times when the camera wasn't on, it might have been crazier, especially between me and him.
Wow. So it's like, was this like in a week time span?
Yeah. How did it? No. I think that day when we did all those Vitamin RB videos, I think we may have spent like 2 days. Like went there one day, did like a bunch of footage, and went there another day and did a bunch of footage. And then I went to his house and did some footage. And that's where, when we were at I think he calls it the Heaven House, that's where things got real unreal.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I hate to be such a teaser, but maybe Paul Chek and I can. I would love to talk about it publicly with him.
I'll wish for that podcast.
Yeah.
Wish on the frequency of synchronicity, because that would be a treat for the listeners, I'm sure.
Well, I'm happy you're bringing him up because do you know if he's still in the Heaven House?
Yeah.
Oh, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's in San Diego. I'm flying there tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm flying to Orange County actually. So, and yeah, he probably has does he do his podcast with videos?
Yes,
he does. So I could theoretically.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to his. All right. Seed planted.
Seed is planted.
And actually, he's the reason I think I met Laird Hamilton. And Laird Hamilton, I just saw Laird just liked one of our video reels.
Oh, nice.
Laird is like a bit of I would like a picture of Laird on my wall too.
Yeah.
You, Laird, Yovel. I like how you see Yovel's already doing it with his clients.
We are the kingmakers.
You said a couple questions. You got another one, or?
I'll say the next one is, being a user of Tribe Vitamins, what do you see the final evolution of the brand?
That's a great question. I believe what we're doing with this company is encapsulating the most nutrient dense, tried and true superfoods in the easiest way to consume. And that's what I keep aiming to do. So we started with bison liver, and it's like, wait, bison heart. Oh, wait a minute, bison testicles. Wow. And then it's like, wait a minute, elk antler. Wow, elk antler and bison testicles. These are kind of like, I don't know if you know Ryder from the U.S. ski team. He's a college kid. He's one of the fastest skiers in the world. He just texted me a day. He's like, yeah, let me get a bunch of that before you go, because those are like natural steroids. He thinks these are natural steroids.
I need to stock up before my Hawaii trip.
Yeah. Tell me about your Hawaii trip, because I know we could probably talk about traveling all day, but I'm curious about what's on the radar there.
Yeah. I was on Oahu earlier this year for a wedding, and it was my third time to Hawaii. So I went once as a kid for the David Wolf retreat. I was like 5 or 6 years old. My dad took me back when I was 9 years old for 2 months. I was on Maui and the Big Island. Then I just remember another really sad moment in my life was leaving Hawaii for that second time, because I'd grown just such a connection with those islands. And it's been 18 years since I've been back. So going to Oahu just re-sparked that feeling that I had. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's probably the best feeling ever. And immediately leaving the island, I was already booking my flights back. And I felt like the Big Island is the most affordable, for one. So that's why I chose it. But there's also so much to do. And mentioning like the Saturn return, like coming of age, like when I was 9 years old, I was like, it was kind of like my dad turning me into a different version of myself. Especially that was right after my mom died. So it was like a coming of age thing. And now I feel like going into the next portion of my life, I want that Hawaii transitioner once again.
So wait, so you haven't been to the Big Island for 18 years? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow. I'm
Mhm.
stoked for you.
Oh, I'm so excited. Like I was in Waikiki on Oahu. I got a little bit up to the North Shore and you can still feel the aloha there.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many tourists and it's concrete jungle. But even being in Waikiki and being on the beach, I mean, you still get the magic.
Yeah. Where are you going to be staying on the Big Island?
I'll be in Pahoa for
that's
1
right, you
month
said that.
and then Captain Cook for
Oh,
the
that's
other.
right. You texted me.
I
that.
wanted to break it up just in case like we get rained out in Pahoa because it is going to be the rainy season. And then Captain Cook we should be getting sunshine.
Yeah, Captain Cook is so beautiful. It's such a different. They're so different. The different
Mhm.
sides. But you'll have 2 months there. Is that
2 months.
Well, we'll have to stay in touch, and I'll give you some
Mhm.
recommendations. I mean, firstly, Hilo, the springs. There are so many swimming springs on the edge of the
They're
ocean.
they're geothermal, right?
There are some in Pahoa that are a
Mhm.
bit geothermal.
Like the champagne pools.
Yeah, those are a little different. You'll see that water is a little more stagnant.
Mhm.
But I think there's like some like heat coming from lava tubes that's like heating up this tidal water that comes in and
Mhm.
out on low and high tide.
Yeah.
But Hilo, I'm saying they actually have cold water springs, like hundreds of them. They are going into like white sand beaches.
Oh my gosh.
And the water is cold. It's
Like just right in Hilo.
yeah, yeah. It's cold water. It's like the ocean, let's say the ocean 75. This might be like 60s. And the turtles love hanging out there. And Hilo is so aloha. Like it's such an aloha. Like as a surfer, especially because I've surfed in different spots in Hawaii, and yeah, Waikiki is one type of scene.
Mhm.
But the very opposite end of the spectrum might be Honolulu and Hilo. And it's just the most aloha vibes ever.
Yeah, because you were there earlier this year.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I love
We were there
Big
at the
Island.
same. We were in Hawaii at the same time.
Yeah, but you were
Mhm.
on Oahu.
Yeah.
Man, the Big Island's so wild. It is so wild, so raw. Pahoa is maybe the most wild place I've ever been.
That's what it seems like.
It's just different. You can just feel the ground. And like you see those lava rocks. And I mean, there's big pigs there too. Like lots of pigs in Pahoa. If you ever want to try hunting with dogs or without them or with guns or traps, they're everywhere.
I'm going pretty much like unplanned out there because I want to have just an adventure.
Well, I will say too, you got to get to the top of Mauna Kea.
That's on the list. I want to book a tour. When a new moon, so the sky is completely dark, I hear it's one of the most breathtaking experiences you can have. Just seeing the stars.
Yeah, I've been there at sunset, and without seeing the stars, it was one of the most breathtaking things I've ever done. First of all, you go from sea level to 14,000 feet, like as fast as you can drive. They kind of require you to stay at this one stop at like 10,000 feet for an hour to acclimate. But we took some people up there and they couldn't get out of the car. It was a little scary. Like my brother, I was there last time with Timothy and Emerald, and they didn't want to go with their baby. And I was like, that's fine. I understand that.
Yeah.
Because they really try to scare people away from
can see
going to the
that.
top. But that top is like, that is so intense up there.
I'm looking at tours. We'd go up around like 7 and then you're coming down at like 4 a.m.
That's probably gonna be outrageous. And I've not done this. I would like to. It's just so in the winter you might be snowing up there.
Yeah,
You might be snowing while you're up there.
Luckily, like with the tour, they'll give you all like winter equipment.
Yeah,
because you don't want to bring your puffy jacket to Hawaii.
There you might though. It gets real. That's the thing. What I learned was when I was in Hilo, and I think it was the winter side. I got a staph infection. There's a lot of like staph on the wet sides of the island, and if someone was just drove me to the top of the mountain, I would have been fine. But no one did that. No one like told me to do that. So I was just like stuck in this wet area, and there was all these raw vegans. They're like, you better do something about that. I was like, you're telling me to do something about that? And like, and they're like, yeah, I almost died from that. And this other guy was like, I did die from that. And I was like, and they're like, so I went to get that antibiotic, and I got on the plane, and I like saw my like wound heal because an airplane's like one of the driest places you can go. But I just couldn't get out of the wetness of the Hilo winter.
I remember that being in Hawaii, like I was getting munched by mosquitoes, and then the guy we were staying with, like I had like a scab that was like turning green, and he was like, "You might want to get that looked at."
Well, what I would say is if that ever happens, just go to the desert. There's a desert on these islands that I'm not sure why someone didn't advise me that. I would have just camped out if they were just like, put some bentonite clay and go up 12,000 feet and you'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. I'd say like I plan to bring some like hydrogen peroxide and honey to like rub on whatever wound just to keep things clean.
Well, that's an amazing place. All right, I know we better do these top 10 questions real quick. You have your next show at 3, is that right?
We have meetings at 3.
Yeah, I gotta get going to San Diego. Gotta get everything. Gotta get
do
doing.
it.
All right, top 10 questions or last 10 questions. Here we go. We'll do them like kind of minute. I know the
show.
Here we go. What's the most breaking normal lesson disc golf has taught you about life off the course?
Don't be so serious, while still walking that thin line of being as serious you can possibly be.
A tightrope of seriousness.
Yes. You don't want to take yourself seriously, but you want to have the utmost structure and discipline to hold yourself to a high level of excellence.
Why so serious? That's a tough one to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, because like it is that waking that it's walking that fine line for me to like say that with a straight face. All right, what's one belief that you held as a vegan that completely shifted after trying bison organs?
I'd say my relationship with life and death is much more nuanced now and healthy, because I always watched the Forks Over Knives, Earthlings, and I just thought to myself, why would people not choose veganism? Like, it just seems like it makes the most sense. You're not inflicting harm. But then once you realize that we're all connected and we have this connection with Mother Earth, having the bison liver kind of reinstalled that in me, or reawakened it. Or I can't even say reawakened, because I was vegan most of my life. It triggered something in me, and it just was my functioning brain started thinking of meat as food, but also like what I should be doing and how everybody should be eating, assuming you're getting a really good source and not factory farmed, and eating an animal that's lived off the land and replenish the land in a regenerative way.
Yeah, it's funny how you put that. It reminded me too that bison liver, the first product we made, was definitely like a gateway supplement for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
It changed my brain.
Yeah, I think it did for me too. And that can especially happen if someone hasn't had animal cholesterol in a long time.
That said, there are aspects of being vegan that I do miss, because people are always like, oh, you're a vegan for so long and now you're not. So it's probably so much easier to go out to eat and just live on the road and just the overall convenience. And it's not, because I'm like seeking out grass-fed, like high quality meat, and I don't eat out anymore, basically. Like, I'm trying to source everything in an ethical, high quality way. And it made life a lot harder in some ways, but it's worth it.
I think you'll be very happy with the meat quality on the Big Island. They have beef out there, and I've heard there's a bison herd somewhere. If you find that out, I heard that.
I'll try to find it for you. Probably in Waimea, if I had to guess.
Probably, yeah. There's some weird things going on in Waimea that seem pretty cool. All right, what's the wildest synchronicity you've ever experienced while traveling for disc golf?
Wildest synchronicity. Oh, that's a tough one. There's so many. There's so many, and none are coming to mind right now. I would just say, as like a blanket for everything that happens out on tour, is like it's this weird amoeba, the disc golf pro tour, and the disc golf community. It's just incredible. People, it's a little bit less now, but back in the day, if you ask like the old school players, it was just purely family, and everyone relied on synchronicity to get by. And I still think at large, going to play professional disc golf, traveling throughout the country, jumping in a van, you're relying on synchronicity to guide you and unfold however way it does. Because that's what disc golf is. It's like, how well can you throw a frisbee through time and space, and how does it synchronize with the wind, the terrain, with your own body? Like, it's all synchronicity.
If every human had to master one throw to master their life, which throw would it be and why?
I'd probably say putting. It's the most mental. It's the easiest to execute, but also the hardest, because you have to calm yourself down. You have to have a strict routine. And if you're mentally shook, then you're going to run into a lot of problems on the green. So it's got to be putting. It's all in the head.
All right. I can relate to that in so many different ways. What did losing your mom what did losing your mom teach you about what actually matters?
I still feel like I'm getting new lessons from this, because as I get older, I understand how I felt as a kid. But if I were to put one thing on it, is it's not taking yourself too seriously and being there for your loved ones.
It's a simple, profound idea.
Being there for your family.
Yeah. What's the biggest mistake players make trying to throw like you? And what's the real secret?
For the disc golfers out there, you're probably throwing a disc that is too fast. You're trying to throw too hard. You really need to just drill the fundamentals, because the best players are the players who can have the strongest set of fundamentals.
Also a metaphor for life. What's one thing about professional disc golf that nobody talks about, but everyone should?
Everybody should. That it's a lot cooler than you think it is. People have a preconceived notion that disc golfers are just all dope smoking hippies, and that's a good demographic, but the Pro Tour, it's people dedicating their lives to a craft, and it's a very difficult sport, and it takes a lot of mental fortitude, a lot of sacrifice, and you can be so creative on how you express yourself through your style of throwing. So it's just, with any type of sport, there's just so much more than meets the eye.
I believe that. I've played a little bit. I want to play more now hearing you talk about it like this. What's the habit, ritual, or weird thing you do before throwing that changes everything?
I have a lot of weird habits. It starts when I wake up. Is morning breath work, getting some sort of light in my eyes, whether ideally the sun, but if not, red light. Just going through my routines that make me feel the most eagle as I can. And for me, that's just being myself and expressing my own authenticity, because it's really easy to have an Airbnb with a bunch of my friends, and they, for some reason, look into you doing, Wim Hof breathing or going outside and doing a rope flow with your shirt off, and they'll look at you and be like, what? Why is he doing that? But that's just how I function, and that's what I like.
Oh, I definitely remember doing that, traveling on the road with a variety of people for 10 years. And a lot of them didn't last for more than a few months, because they probably weren't doing those weird things that I was doing, like every morning getting breath work. When you're on the road, with like 10 random people, you're learning how to get along with. Those habits can be essential, foundational.
Yeah, not going out to eat and like conforming to what everyone else's projection of you should be.
That's a big one too. Oh yeah, there'd be so many times I was out at restaurants and I'm just having a beer, and everyone else is just like putting themselves down, like 2,000 calories of canola oil.
Yep. Very common.
All right, so number 9. What's the one unsexy practice that made you world class on and off the course?
Unsexy practice. One thing that I preach and I'm known for is practicing very close shots until you really can't mess them up. There's a Bruce Lee quote. It's a man is not feared who has practiced 1,000 punches one time, but rather the man who's practiced one punch 1,000 times. Or I think it's not 1,000, but you could put whatever number, a million times. And I think it's the same thing for disc golf. Is if you can drill the fundamentals and get so good at the basics, that's going to be a rock solid foundation for your confidence. And I'm getting back to that now, which I feel like I lost. So going back to the roots.
Rasta. Great. If you could give your 15-year-old self one message from everything you know now, what is it?
Eat some liver.
Oh yeah, you were probably looking for it at that time, just not knowing.
Yeah. Take the leap of faith.
In that case, if you're looking for the best freeze-dried liver in capsules, easiest way to consume, Tribe Vitamins. If people want to follow you, where do they?
You can go to Instagram. That's the best place. I have 2 YouTube channels, Eagle McMahon and Eagle Unlimited. I post like a little bit more lifestyle stuff on Eagle Unlimited and mostly disc golf stuff on my main channel. And yeah, those are the best ways.
What's your favorite thing to do online? Like your favorite out of all the things you produce, what's your favorite to do?
My favorite to do as of recently. So you can find this through Instagram. If you join my channel called Dream on Keepers, you can find a link to my Discord. And recently this has been like the best way for me to communicate with people because it kind of weeds out a lot of the negativity. And I found really good human to human interactions through Discord. Like it's essentially your own public forum that you can take advantage of. And I've really enjoyed those connections with the people. I started about 2 weeks ago, or I've had it for a while, but I've expanded on it. And it's been a really positive way for me to spend time online.
Awesome. Well, we'll include some links.
Code for his follower.
Oh, for Tribe Vitamins? Did we ever make one of those for you? A code for Tribe Vitamins? Do you want? What do you want? Maybe let's do it.
Let's do a code.
What do you want it to be? Eagle?
Yeah.
All right. I'll
Code Eagle.
I'll talk to Caleb about what that. I'll talk to you about it too, but it'll be a mystery for what that code presents for you. I don't want to do something as simple as 10. I want to do something more breaking normal because Eagle, you are breaking normal.
Thank you.
You're about the epitome of it.
That's my drive. That's what I think about. One thing I always think of is you saying, express your own radical authenticity from breaking normal. And it's hard to do when I'm like under a spotlight in a lot of regards. Like sometimes I don't really get to say exactly what I want, but I'm working towards it as best as I can.
Well, I think you're doing an amazing job. And it's been like really fun in a way growing up with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've known you for a few years now here in Boulder. Growing up with you in Boulder, you've been what a Boulder ally you are.
Thank you for being a hero of Boulder.
You're
not from here, but we've adopted you, and we hope you're not going anywhere.
Well, this is the most place that I've ever chosen as a home in my life, so I'm very honored to be in this town. And I loved what you said at the very beginning of the podcast, like how breaking normal is like the best of Boulder and beyond. That means a lot. I do think we've created a magnet for the best of Boulder to be on the show with us, including you.
You're doing it.
Keep breaking normal, y'all. And hey, if you're going to get Tribe Vitamins and you've made it this far, use the code EAGLE and you'll see what happens.
I'll have to put in my link tree. Tribe Vitamins, use code EAGLE.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll come up with something special. I know you love a few of the products. I just made a little extra tallow that I didn't get a full jar of. You want to take this one?
I would love that.
You can tell me how it is. It's the most recent batch. It's the white chocolate.
I'll be spreading it, lathered on the beach.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that white chocolate. It's hard.
I haven't even noticed the camera there the whole time.
I know you've been a big fan of that one since the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting for someone to show us as good as a tallow balm. But anyways, thank you for being a fan. I'm a fan of you. Become a fan of your friends. Let's do that. Let's become a fan of our friends.
That's a good title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.